And when Christina comes, she'll check the live stream. I think we'll be okay over there. Okay. All right. Okay, thank you all for coming once again. And we're ready to get started with actually our sixth meeting. Now, what I always do in the sixth meeting, this is like I call it always the back to school meeting. Oh, hi, Marcherie. I think you and I can cry together afterwards. I'm shaking my head too. Do you see that?
I'm so sorry. That will not happen again.
No. You might be surprised what I'm gonna say. You make sure you hang on.
Wait, say it again, Deacon Wilson.
Just hang on afterwards.
Okay, yes, sir. All right.
All right. You might be shocked.
Okay.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started here today. This is going to be a wonderful meeting. We've got some great things planned for you. Let me, oh boy, why am I? Okay, I see what's going on now. Okay, now I'm ready. Okay, I got to get into this. All right. Glad you all are here. I think you get some great information. I see some folks here that it's your first meeting. Yeah, I think you'll get a lot of good information. Now, in the sixth meeting, a lot of times I'm going to cover stuff that way back in January I covered. But man, in this college process, things have greater understanding and meaning when you see them right at the time you need them. They have great meaning, and this is one of those times. But I have a lot of new stuff in here too. You'll see what's going on. I was going to mention ways of getting in touch with us. You know all the ways. I'd like for you to go to our website at some point and join and go to our YouTube channel and click subscribe. As you know, we don't charge for giving away information. We don't do all that. I have a church that stands behind us, the wonderful bishop and staff. So I don't really have to do that. But there's some things come up where you can help me. If you'll subscribe to our channel, that will help me. I'll be able to get some, because I'm a nonprofit, get some monetization very soon with YouTube. We're getting a lot of views to our site because of our website. And our videos are being looked at from across the country, which is great because we can then do some things if we get monetized and kind of pay for ourselves a little better. All right. So go there and go to westa-eep.org. In fact, I'm going to ask for Quinn and or Christina to frequently drop the website address, the web address in there, the website in there. And on there, there's going to be a banner where you can join. Click on my face if it doesn't scare you too much, and you can join the YouTube channel. Please do that. So when I drop a video, in every session, there are things I can't cover that I have to cover by video. I'll be for example, we're going to be starting with students that are in college, a daily devotional. See Marcherie's here. I'll do the first three starting on the 7th this week. Maybe I'll do one or two this week, and then we'll do them regularly. We want to do some things for your high school student at some point too, little daily reminders and study reminders, things like that as well. So definitely subscribe to our channel. It will help you see the videos drop. All right, let's do some upcoming key dates. I want you to notice how I worded this. I've never seen anybody word it this way. And I think the counselors, this is a recurring theme today. Let's have a word of prayer before we start. Heavenly Father, I thank you for these wonderful parents. Bless them in a special way for being here. These are the parents that are the cream of the crop, Lord. So give them a special blessing on their job and prosper them. In Jesus' name, thank God. Amen. What happens in this season is a lot of time when you read the news and things like that, the counselors and or people on the radio get you scared with dates. I'm more interested in when things start. And I don't want you to confuse start dates with due dates, because a lot of times people are acting like the start dates are the due date. Like there was a big story this week. The UC application is available. Oh my God. And all you hear is that date over and over again. You think, oh, that means it's going to be due soon. No, as you'll see in a minute, it doesn't mean that. It means it's available on September 1st. Western public universities, they all seem to drop around the first. A couple of them dropped earlier because they're rolling admission schools. They admit you as you apply. They don't have a set date. But yeah, they start September 1st. But they're going to be taking applications sometimes into the spring. right? FAFSA opens on October 1st. Not the due date. It's a key date for our organization. We want to be ready to serve you and meet your needs, and we'll tell you how we'll do that in the session today. CSU, same thing. We're getting ready right now. We've already started. If you've had your college readiness conference with us, we've already opened up started putting the grades in and open up the accounts. You guys set up your email addresses. We're down the road. If you want to get on that and get in that position, just get a college readiness conference with us. We'll meet with your student. I have a couple coming up. I see Sister Bernadette's here today. I got your transcript, Sister Bernadette. I got you. We'll take care of you. I'll look tonight at and schedule it for you. But that's how we roll. We want to roll. Oh, God bless you. Some people are really quick with those emoticons. We want to roll. We want to get into the season the right way this year. We want to have that college readiness conference where we really can all get on the same page. In the past, my team will tell you, I slid on that a little bit, but I really should stay with that college conference. We can meet on Zoom and we can figure out what's the best thing for your student. Let's talk about the Western Public Universities first. Here are our top picks for Western Public Universities. As you know, Boise State, they have 19 of our students right now. They may have more than 19, I'm not sure. Nevada, Reno has 2. Northern Arizona currently has 1. We had 4, 3 graduated. University of Colorado Boulder has 2. These are the preferred Western state schools in recent years for our students because they're very affordable. I talked about that last time. I'll get back to that another time though. The advantages are, I say it down here, they're away from California. If your student wants to get away from California, there's a perception that I'm away. You know, this is a big state. You could be upstate, feel like you're in another state. You want to be away, that's an option. It's not an option for everybody. If students feel like away is really like an HBCU, they probably won't be interested in a Western state school. But they're very affordable. They're new and unique experience. You'll do things in Western state schools that I can assure you you'll never get a chance to do ever again. There are no essays or recommendations, and they're pretty quick applications, okay? Again, if you have questions, you can use the chat, or you can just open your mic up and yell at me. I don't care. I'll stop and answer you, okay? I design my presentations to be well less than the time, okay? The UC applications open September 1st. Here's some facts about the UC application. It opens September 1st. It cannot be delivered to November 1st. Please understand that. I know these counselors will be bouncing off the walls. Just tell them to take a chill pill. It's not due until the 1st to the 30th. Not due. It's not due to the 30th. So I said, well, I'm going to get it done early. All right, well, you can't do nothing with it until the 1st. You can't deliver it. And I don't want to have you delivering something prematurely that isn't properly vetted and checked out, especially after last year, how difficult UC was. Students should start with essays. Everybody thinks you open up the application and start filling it out. That's not, you can do that because it's a free country. Last time I checked, but really 95% of the work on the application is going to be the essay, probably more than 95%. Speaking of the time you're going to spend on it. So I think you should start with the essays. Speaking of which, there's 4 personal insight essays. Pick from 8. You have a list of 8, you pick 4 of them. There's a 9th essay for students that don't meet the requirement. I think they should answer that essay, which is why should we bring you in? I'll show you how to do that if I'm working with you. They're 250 to 350 words each. Wait a minute, I should stop. I didn't acknowledge my team. I got Quinn Davis here. She's from Cal State Long Beach. We talked about her. And I got Christina Martinez monitoring all the different places we show up. You can go over to YouTube and check us out too, Christina, if you want to make sure.
Yes, we'll do.
You can. She's here too today. They'll be able to pick up any questions I can't answer and help keep me on track, okay? So anyway, back to these essays for UC. They're 250 to 350 words each. Now, in episode 2, this is like Netflix. In episode 2, I went through great detail on the UC essay. But if you want us to help them with the essay, again, you want to have that college readiness conference, we can establish your needs. We're very, very, very affordable in our costs. My team is subsidized by the church. Don't get an expensive consultant. Don't get these consultants that might be visiting your school that are thousands of dollars. It's absolutely immoral what they're trying to do. Anyway, you should start on your UC essays now. There are no teacher recommendations, and you have to have very good writing skills. I mean, I feel if a student's a C student in English, but they have great grades, think they want to go to UC, it's going to be difficult. And for us too, because when we have to help them write it like with several iterations, usually should only take about 3 back and forths to get it done. It's usually if students are having trouble with the essay, UCs are not the only school in the world. Remember that. Those essay questions that they have are not always amenable to what students want to do or what normal people who communicate normally want to answer, okay? But they can be done. More about UC. UCs are for the highest 10% GPA students in the state. Or think about it in your school. If a student is not in the top 10%, but this is really true now, they asked us at the counselors conference to stress this because there were so many students that had good grades that didn't get in. They need to be in the top 10% of the students in their school at least. Now, if you're going to go to Berkeley or UC Santa Barbara or UC San Diego or UCLA, you're going to be in the top 5% of your school. Okay, GPA. SAT scores will not be considered by UC. Now, we're going to talk about this concept. Let's do it now. Let's talk about this concept of optional. Now, remember, UC and CSU are not even going to look at the scores. Please understand that. So if your student's going to go to UC or CSU or stay in the state, because our state was the most locked down state in creation, it still is in many respects. I call it, we're under an invisible lockdown right now. Anyway, in the state of California, no one is taking SAT, even the private schools, even the ones that say they are lying. How can they compete with UC and CSU, right? So in this state, there's not a concept of optional. Now let's talk about across the country. If a school is optional, it does not mean if you don't submit the scores, they'll consider your student equally. Well, that might be true on some private schools, but not on the most selective private schools. The most selective private schools is going to help you if you get a good SAT score. I sure hope that that helps people with this concept of optional. What does that mean? That means if a student GPA is not that high, the SAT scores can't really help them. But if their GPA is high enough for a school, the high SAT scores will help them not only to get in. Because remember, the goal is, listen closely, parents, the goal is not to just get in. You know, it's kind of like heaven. You're not just trying to get in, just barely get into heaven. Hallelujah. You're not just trying to get in. You want to get in with enough margin where you get some money, cha-ching, right? You want the merit, you want some merit dollars for your student, right? So I think SAT score is going to be how schools determine merit. They act like they're not. I mean, come on now. Do you really seriously believe if your son or daughter is 4.0 or 3.9, didn't take the SAT, and you're at a school that has 1,000 other students vying for 800 spots that also got 4.0, but they have SAT scores and some of them are high, they might let your son or daughter in, but they ain't getting no money. So I think that optional means required in that instance. And we'll find out when we go to your conference, but optional doesn't mean that much to me. Depends on what we're applying to, right? If we're going to stay in the state, okay. Optional means don't mean nothing. They're not going to look at it. Very high GPA. Wait, maybe I should see if there's any questions. Any questions on that? That's a concept. I didn't do a separate view graph for this meeting on SAT, but this SAT score thing made me think about it. Anybody? Okay. So you're going to need a very high GPA for 7 of the UCs. You're going to need a high GPA for UC Merced and Santa Cruz, but not as high as the other UCs. UCs are research schools. They're not profession driven like CSUs. Once again, UCs are research schools. They're not profession driven. 70% of their graduates go back for their master's. They go out and find out they just want to go back to school. Now, I think you need to get a job. And if you're in my house, you get a job. I think you can get a job. The CSU is going to be more profession driven. It's not to say UC students can't find work, but they have to consciously think about that. And in my program, we will push career a lot more, and they probably can get away with that. I think career is very important. A lot of counselors think just going to UC is good enough in of itself. Let's get into how we can help. The essay review, we can help with that. We can do application support too. But again, you'll get that service coming out of the College Readiness Conference. We'll be offering and presenting that service to you. Those are already in there are going to start getting their meetings to start their essays, things like that very shortly. We had a few to come in the summer. FAFSA opens on October 1st. Now, I talked about that a minute ago. You need to create your FAFSA username and password at www.fafsa.gov. You click Create FSA ID. You can see our video. We have a video on our YouTube channel where you can learn how to create. I think it's called that too, creating your usernames and passwords. I'm gonna challenge one of my people to go on there and catch that link and throw it in the chat.
I'm gonna try to do that right now.
Okay, I know you heard me, right? See what I mean, y'all? They save my life all the time. All right, okay. Use your names when you're creating this username and password. Use your names. I said names because you're going to create it for youth and parent. I can't stress that enough. Someone tell me I got my parents will call me and say, I got my username and password. I'm ready now. No, you're not. Your student has to have a username and password because it's their FAFSA. It's their FAFSA. I don't think they should do it. I think either you or me should do it, but it's their FAFSA. Use your names as they appear on the Social Security card. Please do this today. Set that up. Now, I have a video for it too. Now, if you need a little more from me on that, I can go in there email me. I'll go in there and get that link where you create the FSA ID, just send you the link. You just click and y'all can just sit there on the computer and do it. But email me, do communicate with me, over communicate with me during this period when you need help or you need relief of some of the concerns you're hearing. You're maybe a little stressed or you're concerned. Use me for that. That's why I'm here. That's why I left aerospace to go full time. This is my ministry. This is what I do for God. You know, I told Marsharitas one time, Bishop said to me about, maybe 2-3 years ago, he says, you're the only staff person, you don't work for me. I said, I beg your pardon? Because I feel like I do work for him, right? He said, no, you're working for the parents. They set your schedule. They tell you what to do. And I said, you know what? You're right, Bishop. I do kind of set things up around what my parents are needing, what they're wanting to do. Like little things I've done in my private life. It's kind of funny. My wife knows. When I get to Labor Day is a holiday. I'm going to go see a movie tomorrow, probably. But part of my day, I know I'm going to be working with parents because and families and doing work with college. You either here on my computer because I realize this is that's a key day in the college admission world. Another day like that is Veterans Day. Because that's a day where you guys are thinking about college. My whole ministry revolves around what you need. I don't know what propelled me to say that, but it's very important that you know I'm here to help you. It's a ministry of our church. And thank God we have it. I think we're very unique too. It's kind of like exciting to be working with a ministry that thinks like that. On the FAFSA, again, we're official FAFSA preparers. We're approved by the Department of Education. In fact, I'm going to DC in a couple of weeks here. I'll be going to my homecoming, my class reunion, 45th class reunion. I feel old now. But I'm also going to go and correspond to the dates for the yearly meetings for the site preparers of FAFSAs. I'm gonna see what's new in the FAFSA world while I'm back there, whether I can learn what booklets I can pick up. Too bad I can't give them to anybody. We're not really open just yet again. We prepare 150 to 200 FAFSAs every year. Once you've ordered your FAFSA usernames and passwords, you can email me at holythinkers@gmail.com and request a FAFSA data sheet. I started to put Quinn's email address there, but email me. I think I want to see first, and I'll probably just direct Quinn to send you the link to the. Hey Quinn, we updated those on the Cognito, I believe, didn't we? We have it ready. We're ready, right?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you're right. Remember, this is 22-23, right, Quinn? This is the 22-23 FAFSA group. I know we have 21-22 on there. I know, but this is the 22-23 group, okay? And
Okay.
then the FAFSA doesn't drop till October 1st for you guys. So we have a whole month for you to get your FAFSA username and password as soon as you can. And I'm going to file FAFSAs in the order that I receive working usernames and passwords. I'll follow FAFSAs in that order. I'll start on October 1st. We do ask for a donation of $51. Yeah, $51. Non-members is more than that. A donation for you guys of $51 that goes toward my staff and toward reducing travel for my foster students. Because every year I get foster students try to travel. I got 2 right now. I got ready to travel. Then I had no way to travel. I'd like to use the money for that and also for other needs that we have in the college prep area that are unique for us. So please do that and we'll be able to get that to you. Now, some of you will get it for free. If I find your EFC is significantly reduced, then you'll get the preparation for free from us. We've always been that way. We will file the first 20 we get October 1st to 10th. Now, last year, I was able to file 30 by the 10th, but I'm just going to say 20. I don't know what's going to be up. Due dates for the due dates for colleges for financial aid data. And again, I don't want to alarm you. It's not due October 1st. Okay, here it goes. You're going to hear all these commercials on the radio and stuff. Sister Carla, they're going to be driving y'all crazy. I mean, it's okay. I think people should file early, but I don't want you to lose sleep, right? I want you to do it correctly. If you file FAFSA early and it's all wrong, it's going to mess everything up anyway. I'll clear up some fallacies about that in a minute. The due dates start on the 15th for the Western State Colleges. Just in case you're wondering, the actual priority due date for CSU and UC, and I'm going to check it with my expert. I happen to have an expert VIP on here. Y'all don't know it yet, though. I think they extended it last year, but it's been March 2nd every year. I'm coming to that meeting to see what they're going to do. But let me ask, I got Sister Juanita here. This is a unique opportunity, you guys. She has a senior. Sister Juanita, how you doing?
Good evening.
What do you want to say about
Good evening, Deacon Wilson.
What you want to say?
I'm just here to support you and give more insight into you, the parents that are on here about the program and filing a FAFSA as we go through the cycle.
Yeah, so that's right. She'll keep me updated. She thinks I didn't see her invite me to the meeting. I saw it. I'm coming. She tried to tell me to keep myself up. I'm gonna keep myself updated. I'm coming. Anyway, so CSU, UC, most privates are due by the 2nd, but we're going to keep an eye on that. Now, there was a time way pre-pandemic. This is like 10 years ago, where we would scare people and tell them you get more money if you file early. I only know of one school in America like that. And they're all not going to apply there, so I'm not worried. But there are some schools that they'll tell you stuff like Grand Canyon will say, hey, if you file by December 1st, we'll give you $2,000. Hey, now. You'll just see those things in the email. You'll do those things. But I think filing the first week of October, I feel like the first 20 days of October would be a great thing for the people in my program. I want to see you 2 months ahead in the process. Every year, colleges say that's a note. They say, you have to earlier get more money. Actually, it turns out that most of the people in my program are not eligible for state and federal funds. It's going to be about merit. But those that are, you have strict due dates on getting those funds. I'll be watching. I got your back, right? I'll be covering you on that. Let's talk about these pathways to college. I know I talked about this before. At graduation, you go to 4-year college, you can start your life, right? Or get some professional development training. That's the way to go. You get some professional development training in parallel with your 4-year. We had a whole session on that. And I'll have Ronald Roberts back, and we're going to do this again and teach you for different degrees, different majors, what things you should be doing in college. I know what parents always like to say is internships, but it turns out that's just only a part of the story. There's lots of stuff you need to be doing. Students should be doing in parallel with their 4-year college degree. We found out over the years, it's very important. We learned the hard way because in 2009, when the economy crashed, right? It changed forever. It became a world of not only your degree, but what experience do you have? Used to be you just had a degree. That's all you need, right? But now it's different. And then I suspect post-pandemic, it's going to be even more so experience. So some can go to 2-year college and they go to 4-year college. We'll talk about that way later in the session. Or they go right on to a job and career. I'm just telling the truth the way it is. We'll talk about that later. Then you can do professional development training only. Like I see Google's opened up that Google College. They're taking kids right out of high school. You know, if you have a kid that's a geek, I mean, you call when they're into the computer, nerd, geek, whatever, they're really good with the computer and stuff. Well, some of them can go right on to Google School. Google give them a certification, give them a job. And we have to tell it the way it is about, see, I'm the enrichment director. When I traveled to DC after I got married and had what you call a honeymoon, I visited the Frederick Douglass house. And he's a man, and I'm so happy. Some of y'all were on my DC trip, got canceled before the pandemic. I believe Sister Fernandez had her daughter on that trip. And sorry, we got canceled out. But one of the things I would have visited would have been the Frederick Douglass house, because he was an untrained man. He was a self-taught man, and he taught himself. I think that's an important part of enrichment, get some professional training. And then they might go to 2-year college and the 4-year college. All right? Now, this is important. These next 2 view graphs are kind of important, because it talks about how you would pick your college organically. If I wasn't in, like, shouting instructions from the sideline, there's a way you might pick a college, the way people have picked a college. And you'll find there's a problem with that, the way it's been picked in the past, but this is the way it's done. There'll be some college alumni, maybe. The reputation of the college has a lot to do with it, kind of how it's known. Family and friends may make suggestions, right? And there's various colleges people will apply to. They'll have usually moderate to high parent debt with a viable career path. For about half the students will have a viable career path. I come along and I say, I'd like to improve on this. I want to improve on this process. I want to make this a more fulfilling and better process. I believe in the data-driven college list. The data should drive the schools you're looking at. And sure, you can have some schools you might want to try anyway on the list, but data should be a big part of the college list. Unweighted GPA, career path, weighted GPA in some cases, case of the UCs maybe. Family income, that should drive the list. The problem is that traditional counselors, independent counselors even, and counselors in school don't have enough understanding of how family income affects the cost of a college. But what we have is 20 years of experience seeing what happens. And we've gotten to know financial aid people very, very well over that period, gotten to know how schools make decisions on financial aid, gotten to know that financial aid policies of schools are all different. Okay. Oops, I lost my trick. Okay. You might even ask, how much debt will I have, right? That's at Luke 14:28-30, where it talks about planning ahead for costs, if you can pay for something or not. We'll talk about that another time. That leads us to what I call my top 12 colleges. And I'll show you the list. And other preferred colleges. And one characteristic of my top 12, the decisions will all be driven by data, but they'll be affordable if the right people select those 12. Now, those 12 are not the only colleges by any stretch of the imagination, but there are preferred colleges. There'll be 0 to moderate parent debt, viable career path for 85% of the students. So that, look, we've improved. 85% of the students will have a viable career path, okay? SAT scores is also a thing, but I put it last because, as I said earlier, in California, that's not part of the data we'll look at. But for private colleges, we're certainly going to look at that. Well, private colleges is a high GPA. So you have this data-driven college list. Here are the options of different kinds of colleges you can apply to. Out-of-state public universities, California state universities, early action private colleges, and Protestant Christian colleges, universities of California, and regular period private colleges. Now, I don't see anybody categorizing colleges this way, but I do, because each one of these types of colleges has a different cost model, different application model. They have a different cost model, okay? We have application acceptances, FAFSA submission, Financial aid awards. You have cost determination and trade-offs, and then you're ready to go to college. That's what we think it should be like. But so often some of these steps are dropped. We get into the school we want, we pretty much have made a decision. That's where we're going to go to school. But really, we should have a very, very organized process. Again, if we have these schools, questions, when do we apply now? I think out-of-state public universities by the 15th is time enough to start looking at them. That's why a lot of my students who had conferences are going to be applying to Boise State next week. They just don't know it yet. In fact, when is Boise State visiting? Somebody tell me that. One of you guys will let me know on that, right? California State Universities, the 1st to the 31st. But notice the due date for CSU is December 15th. But again, I think you really should get all your applications done in the first month for CSU. Early action private colleges. Look at that dollar sign I put for private colleges. On November 1st to 15th. I think that's a good time to do. There's certain private colleges, that's why I put the dollar sign to remind me. There are certain private colleges you should apply for early because the way they award money is that way. For example, if I was going to a Black college, I would apply to any Black school, HBCU, or out-of-state public university that's mostly Black. I would definitely apply for those schools by Halloween. I wouldn't even wait till the 1st. For the 1st to the 15th, you find lots of other Christian colleges you should do early. If you're going to do Seattle Pacific, you do it early. Again, I got your back. University of San Diego, I think you should do that one early. There's certain schools that are famous for giving most of their money to people who apply earlier. Any questions out there for me, Christina? We cool? Christina, any questions here? No? All right, any parents, any questions? No? Okay. Just let me know right out in the questions. Universities of California, November 1st to 30th, as I said before. You might say, wait a minute, you said September 1st. Well, they're available, but they can't submit it till the 1st. Please remember that. Regular period private colleges, I think can be done the 1st to the 31st. There's some exceptions to that. I think that if you're going to go to USC, you really need to do that application prior to the 1st of December, because that's their priority deadline for money. That's a money thing again, right?
What do you mean regular period private colleges?
Means that they're due usually in the very end of the year in January.
Okay.
I think they should be done December 1st to 31st. But I ain't doing nothing after Christmas. I mean, a lot of people rushing around doing them in January, and regular period means is as opposed to those private schools that it makes a difference if you apply early. I mentioned them up here, right? Like USC should not be done during the regular period. You can do it, they'll let you do it, but you're not going to get any merit money, right? That's not a good thing. And USC is $78,000. I think you need all the help you can get. I mean, that's a very tough example, but another one would be a school like USD, University of San Diego. Now, I would apply for them in December because I know the amount of money you get. That school is a school that if you make that early action date, they're going to try to give you more money, okay? They will do that, all right? But since Christina's back, any questions in the chat I should care about? I guess we're okay.
I think we're good. I don't see any in the chat right now.
Just our stuff, good.
Yeah.
All right, so these schools down here, parents and students, are the private colleges, right? And those are the ones that have application essays are needed. So you notice for Cal State and out-of-state public universities, for the most part, they do not have essays. Now the UCs and all these, they have essays. You should be developing, the essays should be under development. We can help you with that once we have that college readiness conference with you. We'd be glad to help you with it. So all these schools we can help you with too, with some delivery support. We'd be glad to help with those as well. Okay, but again, have your college readiness conference first. Go ahead, Christina.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I don't know if Quinn told you already, but Boise's coming on the 16th, and I'll put the link in so that parents can RSVP.
That's right. We've had a lot of your RSVP already. Boise State will be here on that day. We have a big announcement about Boise State. Because I feel in a great mood, I'm gonna let it out in the open right now, Christina. Christina and I know that Boise State just announced to us, I think Quinn knows this too, that our first 10 students that enroll in Boise will get a special West Angeles scholarship that will make the school cheaper than a CSU. So again, if you want to apply to Boise, you learn about it first. And we're going to visit Boise State as soon as we're legally able. It'll be our first trip that we're going to take. You know, it's okay to travel there now, but our company has very stringent rules for group meetings and travel right now. And I suspect that'll be lifted for us very soon. When I looked at the low cases we have last 2 weeks in LA County that no one's talking about, so I will. Okay. Any questions in the chat? I saw y'all just put some stuff there, right? Okay. All right. So we have that. So we have these top 12 schools concept that I have. Here are the schools that we like. Let me go back. First of all, here's the CSUs where our students have had great success at, have gone on to have great careers. All the CSUs, we've had good students, but these are the ones that most come to mind. I mean, CSU in general is an excellent state college system, probably the best in the country, top to bottom, for cost and everything. Cost, diversity, a lot of different reasons. We'll hit some of those reasons later. Those are our favorite four though, okay? Grand Canyon, Biola, and Seattle Pacific are our favorite Christian universities that we like a lot. Boise State is a Western State University we like. And there are other Western State universities. I listed them on the first slide, you might remember, or the second slide. Howard and Tuskegee are by far, or I'm just going to say, are our favorite HBCUs. There are a lot of good ones. I mean, Hampton's a good one. But again, this is a cost-driven list, right? Schools that if you get into, you have a chance of getting money. Now, getting into Howard's going to be a challenge these days. Tuskegee has always been quite liberal, and the pandemic's been good to them with getting donations. So I suspect they'll continue. George Washington University and Loyola University have also been very good for our students. GW is in Washington, D.C., along with Howard. Loyola Marymount's Loyola Marymount. They'll be in the visit with us too really soon as well. This is that scripture on college costs that I talked about earlier. Which of you intending to build a tower does not sit down first, count the costs, and he or she has enough to finish it, lest after he has laid the foundation, is not able to finish. All who see it begin to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. So we got to look at and estimate the cost of college. I'm actually going to have a video on this scripture. We'll talk about that in a 3 or 4 minute video real soon. What will we pay for private college? Kind of talked about this before, but private college is where I'm focusing more of my comments today. For high school class of 22 family, the family incomes of 80,000 or more. It's going to be based on line 11 of the 2020 tax return. It's going to be $2,300 to $3,800 a month for a family making 80,000. And remember, the assumption here is that they get the regular merit award. This is typically, I would do these graphs for GPAs of 3.5 or so. Now, if your grades are higher, it can work out better for you, right? But this is why this number over here is what leads families to have to take out loans. And there's your parent loan right here. 3.6 is my assumption. Here's the parent loans per year. Again, we'll send you a copy of the presentation. I think I'm gonna put this chart up on the website somewhere too. We had it up there before. This is this year's, updated for this year. You can see that you get to some serious debt if you're not careful, right? If you're absolutely not careful about this. Okay, so you want to be careful about debt and college costs. It's very, very important. All right, let's go on. You might wonder, are there any alternatives to spending $75,000, $250,000 for a private college? And by the way, if the grades are extremely high, you might be able to, and your income is at a reasonable level, say for them. I mean, in California, I feel like you need a mint to live, but that's not the whole subject. All right. So let's see here. Local CSUs is a way to avoid cost, right? CSU Long Beach, CSU LA, Pomona, Dominguez Hills. You can live at home or an apartment nearby. The cost will be about $170 a month to go to school, maybe less. You also can consider Western public universities. We talked about that earlier. Nevada, Reno, Boise State, and et cetera. Again, you want to visit those schools and make sure you get on the campus. You can shut your close your microphone, whoever. I can't see the microphone. Maybe you can help me out, Quinn. Did you make yourself the, let me see. Stay away from ASU, University of Arizona. I used to call these cost trap schools. These are all your cost trap Western schools. Unfortunately, they're all the schools your student will like. They're going to run you $35,000, $50,000 per year. And students are going to want to apply to these. And I know sometimes you feel like they worked hard in high school, they should be able to apply. But they get in, it'll be maybe a disappointment, you know. They don't give a lot of money. Now, University of Arizona will for super high GPAs. I mean, if you have a 3.9 or 4.0, parents, you may find it affordable to send them to the University of Arizona. The rest of them, they don't seem to want to do much for out-of-state students. Certain private colleges and others are going to be affordable. GW, Seattle Pacific, Grand Canyon, Howard. If you think you saw those names before, they were on my top 12 college list. CSUs and UCs. Oh yeah, you can save tens of thousands of dollars. You compare UC with the upper middle class family making over 100,000, even up to 200,000 a year, will find UC significantly cheaper than a selective private college. They'll get into both, but then you want to ask yourself how much debt you really want to take or what can you actually pay out of pocket. Certain traditionally Black colleges are a great buy. I like Norfolk State, Virginia State, Prairie View, and Tuskegee. They're very affordable. If the GPAs are 3.5 or above, you might find them similar cost to a CSU. Okay? Hope that helps. How about college admission requirements versus the application process? Applications are submitted to the admissions office, right? And you're accepted, rejected, or waitlisted. Then usually they may want your high school transcript to make that decision. I said may, because UCs and CSUs don't require it. They only require it when they ask for it. But private schools and every other school will certainly want the high school transcript. I put over here CSU and UC do not require transcripts. Recommendations, if required, there'll be something that will go to the admissions office, right? This is how they make the decision, right? The SAT, I put in dash, right? That's something that goes to the admission office if it's needed. Because remember, UC and CSU don't even read the SAT. SAT prep, well, you only need prep if you're actually taking the SAT. Okay, that's why I put it over there like that. All right, I hope that's a good chart that shows you what's needed. Sister Candy, go ahead.
Just a question, if Cal State University and UC do not require transcript, how would they know their grade? How would they know their grade? Won't they have to know their grade point average? Or did I miss something there?
No, you did not. You did not miss anything. So let me give the answer to that. The answer is that the grades are carefully self-reported by the student or by us, we do it for the student on the application. They go by a self-report. You might say, what? Well, we do a lot of things in our country by self. You pay taxes by self-report, right? So there's a self-report. Now here's what happens, Sister Candy. A CSU or UC could ask you for the transcripts after they see your self-report, right? Say there's mistakes in the application, and then they ask for the transcript. Or if they want to help with their decision, they may ask for a transcript, okay? That's how that works. But the transcript is not required. It's a self-reporting of the grades. Now, say they get into a school and now they're going to come to the school after they get their dorm and all that. They will request the final transcript from the school that shows you graduated. And this year I had 3 students that two that almost got disenrolled when they got to that point because there were mistakes in the application. And we did not do the application, Christina, don't worry.
So the self-report would be like they somehow with the grades on there, right?
Or someone who's very knowledgeable puts the grades in for them.
Oh, okay. Oh, into the port.
Hint. That I'm volunteering for that job. I see my hand up. I'm volunteering. You already had your college conference and you're a member. I got you. Don't worry about that.
That's something I learned today, something new, self-report. I
Yeah,
was
that's
not
right.
knowledge. You learn something all the time, right?
Yeah, I mean, and it's a great question because it's fresh on my mind. Because I had 3 students actually who the school said, wait a minute, your final report card, there's some problems with it. It doesn't match what you reported, or you got a D in there we didn't know about. Okay. So in one case, I was able to use my influence with one school and turn it around, actually 2 of them. In the other case, I couldn't do anything about it. So they're going to 2-year college. So that self-report has to be banging, has to be done correctly. In each case, Christina, in case you're wondering, we did not do the input. Okay. All right.
Thank you, Deacon Wisdom.
Yeah, I hope that helps. Okay, let's talk about these schools again. Let's look at this situation first with the adjusted gross income in general. So let's say we don't look at those, just get generically what they cost without looking at anything. This is what the schools cost. Out-of-state Western universities cost between $14,000 and $35,000. Out-of-state, now, by the way, I'm talking about now the total cost of the school. Out-of-state public universities are $35,000 to $65,000. California state universities are $20,000 to $27,000. This is without any consideration. Say you don't submit a FAFSA and you get enough GPA to get in, just barely. Because I want to you'd have something to compare. Protestant Christian schools cost this much. The University of California are $32,000 to $37,000. Make that $38,000 now. And regular private colleges run $40,000 to $76,000. Make that $78,000. Because I see that USC will be 78 this year, and they're traditionally, them and Duke are the highest cost schools in the country. Here's an interesting direct cost comparisons though. USC is 76,000 last year. Harvard was 73,000. Duke was 78. Loyola was 73. Laverne was 59.9. Howard was 44. They're going to be 48 this year. University of Arizona was $52,000. Either one of those. Grand Canyon though, 26,200. Seattle Pacific, 47,000. UCLA, 36,000. And look at the CSUs. So I often say this to people. Let's take CSU Long Beach. CSU Long Beach's tuition, and I have tuition, these numbers are tuition and room and board, everybody. Look at CSU Long Beach. Their tuition's about $6,000. The living expenses are $13,000 a year. All right. And look at USC. Its tuition alone is $64,000. Do you think that USC is 10 times better than Long Beach? I don't think so. So that's what you got to think about when you look at the cost of these colleges. I mean, I get students come out of all kinds of schools and having success in life. You name the school, I've had successful students from it. I had some very successful students from CSU Bakersfield. What am I to do with that if they're successful? Am I to say they're not a viable choice? I've done this, maybe I've done it too long, but I've done it long enough to see students successful from every kind of college. I mean, I cut out the view graph about Tony Stark and the Iron Man suit, but it's very valid that it depends on what students do with the school, not just the school itself. Let's look at those families again. Let's say we have adjusted income of 80,000, GPA of 3.6. See what these come out to now. So the Western public universities will run you 14,000 to 17,000 now. This is almost like a CSU, right? Out-of-state public universities, 45,000 to 65,000. Obviously, they're not counting the Western ones, right? Step back, my cat's trying to perform for you guys. Let's see, California State Universities, 20 to 27,000 still. So if you're making above 80,000, you're going to be exposed to the full cost of CSU. Now, the students may take out a direct student loan and reduce those numbers by 6,000 each. So you're really talking about $14,000. Let's see. Protestant Christian colleges are going to be 25 to 57, depending on what school you pick. University of California, 20 to 27. Regular period private colleges are going to be $25,000 to $76,000. All right, for that $80,000 family. So what you learn from this is that at $80,000, the GPA is still not high enough to have an impact, which is why we need a college readiness conference. So I can show you the right private schools to have on your list. I mean, you can pretty much determine the right CSUs, but certainly to look at the right private colleges, you need that readiness conference. How about the 4.0? Let's see what happens with that. At 4.0, pretty much the same. Pretty much the same. The lower for UC though, see, and regular private colleges. Now, what I don't have here is you just have the window. So you might have a school that say would have been 50,000 without the 4.0, maybe 25,000 now. But pretty much the going price for a private school is going to be $20,000 to $25,000 a year, even with super high grades. That may be okay, you know, for your student. At 3.2, to give you an idea, I'm running through these real quick. So I didn't want to do a lot of affordability today. I wanted to show you what happens with CSU though. Look at CSU, $4,000 to $6,000, because this family is now making only $40,000. But that they're making only $40,000 didn't even make a dent in this. So you get all this federal money doesn't help you when the school costs a lot. The maximum federal award you can get is $12,000. It makes a difference with CSU, because also you could get a Cal grant. As Sister Juanita would tell you. 3.2, 40,000 a year, you're eligible for a Cal grant. Protestant Christian colleges, University of California, look, it can be 1,000 to 4,000 a year at UC. UC does a lot of stuff for low income, more so than CSU these days. And regular period private colleges could be as low as 15,000. So the moral of the story is grades. You know, students get the school they earn, not the one they want. Students get the school they earn, parents, not the one they want. I wish it was they get whatever they want, but because your resources are limited, they can't have whatever they want. Here's some important recommendations about your schools on your list. Could be making a good pace here too. Never pick schools by your major. Don't go, well, who has my major? You're going to pay more for college. Think about instead career paths. Your major will probably change. Your career is what's important. Career and passion are not the same. Don't pick a major because it's your passion. You need to make some money, okay? I'll have more to say about that later. There's certain majors, you know, I would just not have if I'm going to have a career. We'll talk about that another time. In fact, some schools have cut out majors for that reason. They've shocked the world by the majors they've cut out. Try not to pick by the name of the college, right? Hey, I've heard of it, they have a good name. Legacy is not a thing at colleges these days. Isn't that interesting? Unless your relatives are, get this, in high federal government positions or are or will be heavy givers to the college. And that's called backdoor admissions. I'm sorry, that's called so-called backdoor or side door admissions or whatever. Backdoor admissions are not illegal though. In other words, if a person's a heavy donor and then they give consideration to their student, it's probably not equitable and fair, but it does happen. So legacy is not a thing these days because your parents went to a school. I know a lot of parents feel that they went to the school would be easier for their student. There's a couple of schools like that, but it's just not, admissions people don't even think about that anymore. Private colleges are way more expensive than public universities. That's a good general statement. Private colleges cost way more than public. Be real about your college possibilities, please. Your GPA is what it is. You know, all those things you parents said back in back in 9th and 10th grade, well, you don't know how true they are when it comes down to figuring out what you're going to pay for college. What is the plan for higher education in California? This is right from the state law. California community colleges, I call them two-year colleges, are 112 colleges, and now it's 113. All right, so there's one more now. And they're all high school graduates can go to a two-year college. There's no stipulation. You can pick a two-year college, you can pretty much go. California actually tells you if you're not a high school graduate, say you don't get out of high school, you can go to two-year college, you get a two-year degree, go on to college. Bet you didn't know that. California state universities, they have 23 campuses. And they're taking the top 33% of all high school students. Universities of California are 9 campuses. They'll take the top 10%. We talked about that. That 33% could be more like 50% at some schools. University of UC San Francisco. It's a postgraduate medical college, prep school. What I don't have here is UC Hastings, which is a public law school. We have a very prestigious and excellent public law school, which is 1/10 the cost of private law schools. Oh, there it is. It is there. Oh, how about that? I did put UC Hastings. So these are all the state-run schools that we have in California. High school graduation. Well, I can see, I can remember, I got a little typo on this next one. So here's a 4-year plan for most people. They're going to go to Cal State University or UC. This is as far as public college attendance in the state of California. Plan 2, I should have up there. I got to correct this view graph. Plan 2 for the 4-year college is you go to the 2-year college at the state level, and then you can go to either Cal State, they can go to UC. There's transfer requirements for each. In fact, the Cal State and UC will only take students from in the state if they come from a 2-year college. So if they're at a private college, you want to go to UC, they have to matriculate at a 2-year college for at least 1 semester. But you didn't know that. You can only get to, in our state, our UC and CSU from in the state, you have to go through a 2-year college. Let's compare UC to CSU. This is an interesting view graph here. The target students for UC are the top 3 to 12%. I expanded it to 12, but really it's more like 10. CSU is 5 to 50. This is correct. The SAT, ACT is not accepted by UC, not accepted by CSU. They don't even read it. It's not even optional, okay? UC, CSU GPAs, 3.5 to 4.3 for UC, then 2.5 to 3.9 for CSU. I could really say all the way up to 4, whatever. They can only go to 4.0, I guess, for CSU. We could say it could go higher. You do look at honors classes. Type of learning. At UC, it's a research school. CSU is traditional and career. It's not research. There's a tiny bit of research money in CSUs. They're getting you ready for a career. That's why 70% of all UC students end up going to a graduate program. I mean, CSU students go, but usually it's later. Get this, when their companies can pay for it. Isn't that smart? Class sizes for the first 2 years, medium to large, that's UC's game. Students who were online for the writing class at UC told me they were done in webinar format and they had 300 students in the writing class. When they're on campus, it's probably more than that. CSU is small to medium. So one's medium to large, the other is small to medium. So a medium-sized class is a large class at CSU. It's a small class at UC. Number of campuses. By medium, you wonder what I mean? That's talking about 100 students. It's almost unheard of, 150 students considered to be a giant CSU class. That's true for out-of-state public universities too. Number of campuses, 9 UCs, there are 23 CSUs. Here are the 4 most difficult UCs to admit. Last season, this is fresh off of last year. UCLA, UC Berkeley, UC San Diego, UC Santa Barbara. All very hard to admit last year. On CSU, what are the hardest to admit CSUs in order, okay? Poly San Luis Obispo, San Diego State. Of course, if your high school was in San Diego State, it'd be easier. CSU Long Beach, of course, if your high school's in Long Beach, it's going to be way easier. I think that applies to some of you, so I should stop there. So this chart does not apply to you all because you're going to admit to CSU Long Beach with GPAs of 3.0 or above. I have 2 of you in here today that I know of. I think I told you that in your meetings you have with me. If I didn't, something's wrong with me. CSU Fullerton would be a selective school for students that are out of state, the high schools are out of the area. I mean, your high school doesn't have to be in Long Beach to feed Long Beach. I mean, I'm sure Valley Christian feeds Long Beach. I'm pretty sure of that. I mean, I'd be shocked if it didn't. I feel like there's other schools that do that I should be mentioning here. Any of the schools that are over in Whittier, they probably do too. I don't know about Whittier, but you get, Paramount, Lakewood, and all that's going to go to Long Beach. Division I sports, UCLA, UC Berkeley, UC Irvine. The CSU side, some people want to go to a Division I campus. You have Division I sports, you have Spirit, San Diego State, Cal State Long Beach, San Jose State, and Fresno State. Number of majors, this may surprise some of you. There are 100 to 118 majors in all the UCs when you look at them. And usually it typically runs around 80 to 90 in an individual's UC. But CSU are 200 to 200. They're way more majors than CSU than UC, because UCs are research schools, remember that. Advantages of CSU and UC, the advantages. What are some of the advantages of CSU? They're the best college by value. I should say better, I guess. They're better value, I would say. It's $14,000 to $19,000 net cost, meaning factoring in the student direct loan. And if you commute, it's $1,200 to $1,500 out of pocket for the parent if the student takes their direct loan. All right. High connectivity to the California job market. And location is in a variety of settings. You talk about advantages of CSU. Rural, urban, suburban, coastal, small, medium, large cities and towns. Urban CSUs are quite, quote, ethnically diverse, I would say. There are many majors and career paths. What about UC? What are the advantages of UC? Research study is perfect for students who work better independently from teacher influences. Some students work better that way. One clue is in the pandemic. If you did well online, you'd probably be okay at a research school. High prestige in Black and brown communities of UCLA, UC Berkeley, they're very high prestige in those communities. Cost is better for most students than is a selective private college. That's true. UC will be $23,000 to $28,000 in net costs, which is way lower than a private school in most cases. The private school, even after scholarships, might be $35,000 or $40,000. Okay. No new questions, I assume? CSU application. If you have a GPA of 3.7 or plus, there's the CSUs I think are fitted with that. 2.5 to 3.0. Bakersfield, East Bay, Dominguez, you can see them all there. 3.1 to 3.6, right in the middle is all the others. This is a good chart for you to kind of get an idea of how I suggest schools, how I'll suggest schools to you in your conference. So what's going to be on my mind when I look at it, okay? It's kind of like a slice of what I see and how I would pick the college list. I mean, there's other considerations too, like what kind of career paths are offered by those schools. UC application 4.0, I'd be looking at those. You can look at those UCs. So what if I'm 3.6? Hey, it's free country, you can apply, but I want to make sure I'm calibrating your expectations. You need to be 4.0 or above to be looking at those. Remember, there's no SAT score. Used to be I would get students in Berkeley with 3.7s because they would have high SAT scores. Just a minute, I'm sorry. Sorry, I have a hot rod going down the street here. So now I can't do that anymore. That's, by the way, the downside of having no SAT score. I feel I'm having a harder time getting students in UC now. UC Davis, UC Irvine, UC Riverside, when it's 3.7 to 4.0. The 3.4 to 3.6, I feel like Merced and Santa Cruz are possibilities. Probably 50-50, but they're possibilities. Okay. Again, that's a slice, a kind of a cut at how I look at helping you with your college list. What kind of schools I would look at for you. 2-year college enrollment, I like El Camino, I like LA City College, and I like Trade Tech. I like El Camino for project success, and it has great 4-year college agreements. They have great matriculation agreements into 4-year colleges. A lot of our college boys have a great matriculation agreement into Boise State. They got a great one for SPU, Seattle Pacific, and Grand Canyon. Trade Tech, great parallel career training. You were developing a parallel career path. That's a great one to go to. You can get ready to go to 4-year school, and you can plan for your career as well. Say if you're going to be a master chef or cook or or cosmetics would be something you're interested in, you could do those things in parallel and then get your 4-year degree in the related area. It's good for reduced GPA students, trade tech. Why? Because they have a lot of support for students and a lot more than the other 2-year colleges. And the teachers tend to really follow up on students a little more assertively at trade tech. LA City College, they're great for performing arts. They're good 4-year school for UC transfer. They're optimized for that. And they're good for reduced GPA students as well. They have a lot of good campus support. So that's a good look at 2-year colleges, the way I look at them, okay? You might notice I don't have Santa Monica on here. We haven't had a lot of success with that school with our students. So I'm sure students do go there and do well. A lot of people feel they have to go to Santa Monica, but they have to go because that's where you go to UCLA, whatever. That's not true. You can go to UC from any of these 2-year colleges as well. Just because they're near UCLA doesn't make them like UCLA. Why 2-year college? These next few panels may surprise you. You save up to 60% in debt and cost. You stay near home for family reasons. I should probably say, if a student can go to 4-year college affordably versus a 2-year college, I feel a student should go to 4-year college. But if I feel they can't go affordably to a 4-year college, and it's going to be expensive, the school they want, why not transfer to it and cut down on that cost? Because people need to have retirements, you know? Yeah, you're entitled to a retirement, parents. They can stay near home for family reasons on a 2-year college, right? Quicker and better career start often with a 2-year college. Develop better learning and study habits. There's El Camino Project Success, which is a great program. To get credits while in high school is the second reason why you go to a 2-year college. And each summer while you're in college, right? You can get credits while you're in college or high school. That's why a 2-year college. You can finish college early. A lot of my students do that, finish in 3 or 3.5 years, who go to 2-year college during the summers, save themselves a lot of money. Certifications and job skills. I'll talk about the next slide. And then we have trade tech classes we're going to have next semester. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it, didn't have enough interest this time, but we will, because I'm going to properly push that. We do have had other options with our partner Trade Tech. They're offering classes for credit in other ways. They do that every semester. So definitely stay in touch with us. It's exclusive for our students when we offer it. It's priority registration access, and there's free classes. Okay. Again, we're talking about why 2-year college. Here's some top 2-year college training that students get in jobs. These are the top ones over the last few years for us. CNA, Certified Nursing Assistant, Air Conditioning Tech, Plumbing and Electrical, Computer and Networking, Microsoft Culinary Arts, Cosmetology, Film and Video, and Childcare. These are the most popular certifications our students have gotten while they're going for their 4-year college degree. Some of them got it instead of their college degree, and they're doing fine. They got jobs. All can be started while you're in a 4-year college. So while you're in 4-year college, why not get one of these certifications out of the way? If you're going to go for nursing, why not become a CNA? I had a presentation earlier this year where I showed a parallel career path for nursing. I won't do that today, but it's clear that you could do that. Let's talk about the CSU and UC application requirements as we begin to wind up here. It's self-reported in grades. See, isn't that funny? Sister Candy was going to come up later, right? Self-reported grades in current classes. So that's, they want to, so you report your grades, but you also report the classes you're in currently. So it's both of those things you do with CSU and UC. They want other course information in CSU as well, depending on how impacted the CSU is. The application period is the 1st to the 30th. We like to, on our program, do it. We like to get them done the first month, the 1st to the 31st. But really, it closes on the 30th. That's not true. It's going to close on December 15th this year. So the deadline for CSU is going to be December 15th this year. UC, self-reported grades, just like CSU. 4 personal insight essays, student activities and leadership are required. Application period, November 1st to the 30th. What will it take to get into UCLA, UC Berkeley, UC San Diego, and UC Santa Barbara? I'll make sure this year I hit that hard. It's going to take great writing skills, plus a admission knowledgeable reviewer like us. Now, sometimes we'll get to a point with students where we realize that, you know, for the topic they picked, it's difficult to get it, you know, so we can say it's a great essay. And we'll help the student further as long as we have to. It just takes more time and money to do it. And we try to hold down those costs. But great writing skills is really going to be a must. I expect a UC student to be able to write pretty much a draft that's almost ready to go. That's the kind of writing skill UC is looking for. You pick 4 of the 8 essays, of course, and then your GPA we talked about before. Here's some affordable college access misconceptions. The belief that a well-known private high school ensures a well-known affordable, but not true. I've seen students get, you know, 2.7, 2.8 in a very selective, well-known private high school. Well, they come out, they go to CSU like anybody else who's 2.5 to 3.0, unless their parents would take on a lot of debt and send them away somewhere that maybe will take the lower GPA. Our personal experience is going to help you a lot on this because we know that there's certain GPAs in certain high schools where it's going to be certainly advantageous certain colleges and not others. More AP classes means a great college. That's a misconception. College classes are way better. If you can take classes for college credit, it's way better than AP classes. The goal is a well-known or highly regarded college. That's a misconception. Just go for a college that's going to fit the needs of the student, fit their career development needs and their social needs. Nothing wrong with that. Misunderstanding of GPA types and what they mean for affordable. Yeah, right. If we don't understand GPAs, that could cause a lot of problems. And I'm providing this view graph for you again. I've covered it a number of times where it talks about weighted and unweighted GPA. You can read that over, but it's basically saying you need to know what the GPA is and whether it's weighted or unweighted and what it actually is and how it's arrived at. It's kind of important. Here's some very general truths about private college. They are smaller. They cost more for sure. Higher graduation rates though. But I found that on my program, you know, students that are on my program are more likely to graduate anyway. It's in the 85 to 88% range for us to graduate in 3 to 5 years. The essay is needed for admission. Typically, usually it's up to 3 essays. Sometimes 3 essays are needed to be written. Usually it's 1 essay. 1 essay, the Common App essay plus 1, really that's 2 essays. The teacher and the counselor recommendations are needed. The emphasis on extracurricular leadership activities and leadership and activities. So they're going to look at your extracurricular and leadership stuff. Need-based aid is limited in private colleges. Some colleges it's more limited than others. That's something I'm seeing more and more post-pandemic. There's a limit to how much need-based aid someone can get. All right. Other SPC important. SPC means selective private college, meaning they're looking for higher GPAs to get in, like I said on the first slide. Over 750 private colleges are on the Common App. You're going to be asked to pick 1 essay out of 6 prompts, 350 to 650 words each. The application is not hard at all after that. Usually you need 1, sometimes 2 teacher recommendations, and 1 counselor report is needed. Now I should say that it's all automated. You can just provide the email addresses of the counselor and of the teachers. You just provide those email addresses and they'll answer the emails, your counselors and your teacher. Nobody's writing reference letters anymore, including with the application, because everything's online now. Okay, it's all online right now. All right, so that's all I have for you today. I'll take some general questions. Some of you wanted to wait till the end. I'll take questions at this point. Be glad to do that. Hope that was helpful for you. Anybody have any questions? See a lot of people here are first time. I welcome you. I'm so glad you're here. Make sure, Christina, you throw my email address out there and my cell number. Get a hold of me, parents. Let's get you in for college readiness conference, get the unofficial transcript, the test scores. Right now, you know, we're probably at about 30% capacity. as far as ability for us to do stuff. We're ready. We're about 2/3 of the way finishing putting all the grades. Great progress before September 1st on the initial students we have. We'd love to work with you. All right. All right. You're welcome, parents. If you don't have any more, no other questions, nobody? I like the question and answer part. Guess we don't have any today. Nobody? All right. I see who in the Dorn family? Is that Michelle here? Michelle, are you here? Dorn? Is that Michelle Dorn here? I think she's hanging out here somewhere. Yes? Yes, Michelle? No? Okay. Anybody else? I see the Hobsons are here. So to Dopplemore, you have a question or?
Yes, Deacon Wilson, can you go over the application fees? If there are any.
Yeah, I didn't do that, did I? So you mean us help or the school's fees?
The school's application fees.
I got some good hard and fast rules for you. CSU, oh, they went up. That's a great question. So CSU is $70 now. Now that's the bad news. Ask me the good news. The good news for CSU is that we're going to get a certain amount of community-based fee waivers. Unless you make $2 million a year, I'll get you one, and you'll be entitled to 4 schools. Now, the problem is I only have a limited amount. So I'm going to first favor the ones who've had their conferences already. Like Sister Dopplemore over there, it's like we've had 2 conferences, so she's covered. But get in there, let's have those conferences so I can, when I'm doing your CSU application, we can apply those codes for you and do that for you this year. I'm probably able to do that again. So was there, let's see, now those are 70 each. The UCs are still going to be $70. There was rumor it would go up to 90. Let's talk about private schools. They have a range. They run from $55 to $120. The most selective schools are the $100 to $120 schools. Like we talked, the selective HBCUs are going to run $80 to $90, like for Howard and Hampton and those schools. So those costs, that's actually a very excellent question, Juanita. Those costs pile up when you have 10 and 12 colleges. That could be up to $1,000 in fees for schools. Now, some schools, like some of our schools that we deal with, I can get you fee waivers. Most of the schools that are visiting, Boise State, I can probably get you a fee waiver. SPU, I can probably get you a fee waiver. Grand Canyon is free anyway. So some of the schools I can help. Your counselor may have it in with certain schools. Talk to them. Although they base a lot on free lunch. That means middle class people are messed over. We don't get anything. That was a long answer, Sister Juanita. I hope that was the right, gave you the information you wanted.
Yes, thank you.
Great. Anybody else? All right. I want to thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, Sister Fernandez. If you guys want to talk to me after session, I'm just going to have a little snack, a little dinner, and I'll take your calls and your emails. I know I got to talk to Quinn. I know I got to talk to you. But feel free to get a hold of me. This is the holiday. I got time. I'm chilling. Get a hold of me if you have questions. I'd be glad to talk with you. Christina, you put my email address out there? Great.
Yes, I did.
And they know they can call me on the phone. Everybody should know that by now. I'm not that important. I'm not like the bishop. You can't call me on the phone. You can call me up on the phone. It's okay. Go ahead and put my number in the chat there, Christina. I think you know it. Maybe you hit a button. You don't know it. Who knows? I see a lot of people in here already who had their college conferences. So you're cool. Okay, Sister Bernadette, first official question of the year.
Thank you. Are you going to have any more college tours to Howard? Because we missed,
I know. I just sent all y'all's money, but y'all were disappointed. I was too.
Yeah, we were so disappointed.
You think I didn't remember that?
I know. I know we kept going back and forth, remember? Maybe we should, yeah.
All right, so here's what's going to happen with that. I'm ready. I've been traveling already. I'm ready. But our church, right at the last minute, put a last minute hold on suspension on my travel with students. So I feel that they're gonna release that soon. And when they do, I know we can travel safe. I ain't worried about that. I'll take your kids to see the schools. Yes, and DC we're ready to put up, we've already planned dates. I don't want to say the dates because I'm scared to,
Okay,
but we're gonna push that button and go.
perfect.
And you got Marriott ready to do some stuff for us.
Okay,
They
perfect.
got a hold of me during the pandemic. When they can open back up, all the Marriott, customers, I got some good deals on the lodging, all that, got nice accommodations. And a couple of the airlines gave us coupons. We ready.
All
We
right.
ready.
Yay. Okay.
But I
Yay.
can't promise you anything, any dates. I feel like right away if we open up on Monday, you're gonna see me on Tuesday with proposed travel dates, either early next year or into November. That's my prediction.
Okay. Well, we're gonna probably need it before because Naya graduates. Well, we'll be applying to colleges for this year.
Oh yeah, but
So-
here's what I advise, and I'm glad I didn't look at the transcript yet. I totally advise traveling to schools you think you can get it, that you have reasonable expectation you'll get into.
Mhm.
And in that case, you can do that travel, anytime before they make their decision.
Right.
Now, for example, Howard not gonna make the decision until, well, the one, well, I'm gonna have you do it in January. Well, I'm gonna have you do it.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to meeting you and thank you so much and have a
Okay.
wonderful weekend. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
You too.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye, y'all. Bye-bye. Bye, Sister Juanita.